Hello everybody. I wanted to come on here and do another video today talking about just basically getting a little deeper into how I began feeling into the spiritual realm and how I identified that I was picking up spirits as opposed to like it just thinking that it was just me, so I just kind of wanted to share a few of my experiences. I realized that there's, just like a lot of people out there that are empaths, like I've stated in my previous video. I think there's a lot of people out there that are empaths that, I call them empaths, but other people call them discernment of spirits or whatever. It's basically people who feel very deeply and who are able to discern the spiritual realm and other people's kind of biofield, other people's nervous systems, etc. I kind of talk about that in my last video. But today I wanted to talk about those particular people, since of course, I consider myself one of those people. But like, the question might be raised, like, how do you know, like, for sure, like, what you were feeling, And that is a fair question, because I know, like, some of the experience that I've had, I've explained them to other people and they're like, they don't get it. So I kind of feel like if you're an empath or you're someone who feels very deeply and you pick up on other people's feelings and into the spiritual realm, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. But like for me, I just wanted to share a few experiences. Like there's this one experience I remember where I was doing some cleaning. I was helping some family members out, and they had like a cleaning business, and they did like industrial cleaning for certain businesses. And we had to go into the locker room to like sweep and mop in there and wipe down sinks and mirrors and stuff. And I remember walking into that locker room, and I was just like, okay, yeah, grab garbages, do my thing. And I started feeling something in the atmosphere. I started feeling like temptations, or like these thoughts of lust, these lustful thoughts. And I just thought, like, at first I thought it was coming from me, but I was like, that's not my normal, like, it just seems strange just to walk into an environment and all of a sudden having these lustful thoughts. And I just thought that was kind of abnormal. And I just thought, do any women work in here? Like, it was like, kind of seemed like it was like lustful thoughts aimed towards women. And I'm like, do any women work in there, or what's going on? And kind of just like brushed it off, just ignored it, and then returned a few days later to do the same job. And I asked someone that was cleaning with me, I was asking them questions about like that locker room, and I don't know how we came. I think I was asking like a cleaning question, like, because they had like, this locker room had like coveralls, obviously for work coveralls, and so they were hung up like on like different different lockers. Like the door would be open, and then they would kind of hang their coveralls on there. And I think I asked some sort of question like, do we remove the coveralls to like wipe the locker doors or whatever? And they were like, oh no, like we kind of just leave it like that. And so I guess I didn't realize, like, the last time I was in there, the time before, where I had felt all those like feelings and thoughts of lust, I didn't recognize that all the locker doors were open and they had like coveralls hanging on them. And so like I think it was like the second time I went in there, or maybe the third time, I can't remember what it was. This time the locker doors, they were closed, and they had no coveralls hanging over them. And I saw a whole bunch of pictures that I did not see before of like half naked women. And I was like really taken back by that. I was like, whoa, this is wow, I didn't know that all these pictures were there. Like almost like every single picture that was in there hanging up on the locker room doors, like on the doors, they were being covered by the coveralls. So the first time I went in there, I didn't see any pictures whatsoever. But obviously, like when I returned, I saw all the pictures, and I thought, wow, that's what I was sensing. That's what I was picking up, is the people, the men that were in that. It was a men's locker room. The what I was sensing in the men's locker room was the spirit of lust, or like it was like an atmosphere of lust. So I guess like if there has, so I kind of see that as like an open door, really. But like if somebody is thinking about lust and they're having lustful thoughts, and they do it in a particular place, like a locker room, and then they're gone, they leave, the spirit is still permeating in that place. And so whenever somebody else can walk into that room, they can sense it, or they can feel it if you're like a very sensitive person. And there's been many experiences like that for me. And I just remember thinking, like, at that particular time, I'm like, wow, I remember just being validated in myself, like validating my experience and being like, oh, Rochelle, what you were feeling the last time, it's actually it's relevant. You know what I mean? Not having really anyone around me to kind of show me and mentor me, and kind of, I wasn't, usually when I experience stuff like that, I would just keep it to myself, because I'm like, I don't think anyone would understand what I'm talking about, or what I mean. So usually I would just keep all those things to myself. And if I did share, people kind of be like, oh no, okay honey, you know, like that's interesting, or you know, or they would just brush it off and change the subject. Or a lot of people didn't know what to say. But I just remember feeling very validated, like, wow, I sent something, and it truly lines up to what was actually happening in that room. And after that has happened to me many times on different occasions. One time we were staying at an Airbnb, and it's sad to say, a lot of people get together in Airbnbs because they are doing like hookups and stuff like that, or it's like kind of gross. I don't know. But anyway, the reason I know that is we stayed in this one particular Airbnb one time, and we were staying in the master bedroom. And I remember the second I walked into that master bedroom, I remember feeling like, again, like a spirit of lust. And I just thought like that, wow, this is so weird. So I would step out of the room and I just felt normal. I stepped into the room, then I would just feel like a permeation of lust in the air. And I thought, this is not, I'm like, I'm picking up something here. I would go in and then out of the doorway, and just kind of did that. Like, I don't know how many times I did that. And I was just like, there's a spirit of lust in that room. And yeah, later on, when I don't know if like I should share this part, but basically we were able to confirm that there were things going on there because of things that we found. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that part. It just made so much sense. And I guess like the scriptures that I want to talk about, that like this video is basically for like people who are really beginners, who don't really understand the spiritual realm, or like don't know what they're feeling or identify how they're feeling. But the Bible talks about that the Lord has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And I think it is relevant because it's talking about a spirit of fear. And there's also Isaiah 61:3 that says he gives us garments of joy instead of the spirit of heaviness. So I'm not the kind of person that says there's a spirit for absolutely everything out there, but I do know that the Bible talks about certain spirits for certain things, like a spirit of fear or a spirit of heaviness. It talks about he's given us a spirit of love and spirit of sound mind, things like that. And also the Bible does talk about the 7 spirits of God that are like that make up his kind of personality, the spirit of might and power and fear of the Lord and wisdom, etc. So I know that the Bible does talk about those things, which is really important to know. Knowing that, it kind of puts everything into a proper perspective, like how Scripture sees it, and that helped me. Definitely helped me understand things better. That the Bible does talk about these things, and so basically, with intentionality and practice, I was able to figure out how to sense things. And those are just 2 examples, but there's many more examples like over the years that I experienced, and it just helped me validate my experience and help me validate what I was actually going through. Because like I said, I would second guess myself a lot, or I grew up in an emotionally neglectful home, so I wasn't able to validate myself, much less it was like harder for me to identify certain things like that. But basically, I just wanted to come on here and share that. So just, if you are somebody who feels very deeply, and I would encourage you, just try to be mindful of that. Try to figure out like what it is you're feeling, how to tell what you're feeling versus what you're feeling externally. That helped me. Those experiences really helped me understand, like, just because I was feeling something didn't mean that it was coming from me necessarily. I could walk into a room and kind of feel what was in the room already. So I just wanted to come on here and share that. And if you have any questions or anything, you can leave them down in the comments. But until next time, take care, be blessed, and shalom.